So at 2, the misclassification rate is 15%. It's not the best. So the concept I'm going to be doing here is seeing how increasing my depth and increasing my branches, what impact that'll make. So now that it can split into more categories, because there's obviously more categories that are determining these factors, we shall see. All right, when we did that, our misclassification went down almost by half. When we look in here, we can see that these categories are split more accurately this way, and the unacceptable is 100% here, so that stopped categorizing it. But from here, I really see, I'm focusing on acceptable, so if we go down, so it looks like when it has high safety, 4-car door, see here where it splits, so it's probably why it's unable to accurately classify things, so to that certain degree. The next model that I was looking into was the neural network. So with the neural networks, I decided that I would do 50 iterations, and I started out with 4 or 3 hidden units. And the second concept I'm looking into is how adding more hidden units will increase my misclassification rate. Go ahead and pull up, I already have all of this. So when I ran 4 hidden units, and what that's doing is recalculating different weights to the same node inputs. So the more hidden layers I put, the more one input will be weighted. So I noticed with my 4 hidden, I had a pretty good misclassification rate. It was pretty low. The number of classifications wasn't that low. Wasn't that high. So I spent the majority of the time playing around with this number of hidden units to get kind of like the sweet number that gave me the lowest rate. And I learned that 7 gave me the best misclassification rate. At 0 in my training and 0, 0.01, 0.02 in my validation tests. That was the best one I was able to get. So the other concept I decided to play around with was the back propagation. So in my second one, I actually switched the training technique to be back propagation, and I looked at how adjusting the rates, the weights would impact my misclassification rate. The first thing I looked at was the learning rate. First, I decided to do like a low learning rate growth so that the weight wouldn't change too much. Every time I looked at it, every time an error happened, I was concerned that it would cause issues. What I learned was it made my misclassification rate worse, and the higher I was putting my rate, I started pretty low. The higher I was putting my rate, my misclassification rate was getting worse until I put and my momentum as well. So with my momentum, the concept with momentum, that the weight changing over time, I was trying to keep it not too high, um, so that when it was going in that direction, it wouldn't stay too strongly in that direction. But I decided to go ahead and do a high weight. Gotta find that one. Oops. High learning, I mean. Okay. So this is where I had a lower learning rate and momentum. My misclassification rate was 224, which still again isn't terrible. But then when I increased my learning, um, it actually made my misclassification rate worse. So it looked like it was overcompensating when it was airing out and caused a worse misclassification rate. Oh, sorry, that's not true. The misclassification rates were similar, but the number of wrong classifications was higher. So with my last concept, the local optimium, I decided that the best weight that got me the best misclassification rate or the lowest misclassification rate was actually 79. And that was when I just put in my added 4 hidden layers and didn't mess around with the back propagation. Thank you.